Hey everybody, so what's going on? We're here, I think we're back on Drum Talk TV, and our live ended, the previous live where we did the whole main show. I'm going to scoot through some comments on my monitor over here, and let us know if you saw the show, let us know if you see the archive of it, but let's look at see if we've got some questions here. Bear with me. I'm
on with you now.
There we go.
So, guys, I couldn't see the video. Facebook wasn't showing it to me. Now, when you just started talking again, all of a sudden it pops up and says you're live, and I clicked on it, and here we are. So, that was frustrating.
So let's look at some new comments on the old live. It's just refreshing.
Oh, I can't see the old stuff.
That's okay. I got it here. Oh, do you know this? I've never heard of this, Brian. Brad Bird says, what about Beware My Love, the song that Bonham sat in for? Oh, for the Wings, for Paul McCartney and Wings. That was never released a few years ago. Is that when he recorded on the album Back to the Egg?
I think so. Yeah, that's a great track.
Yeah.
His groove's killer, his snare drum tone's killer on that track. Yeah, it's very repetitive, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like... there's another one Zeppelin put out. Beware My Love is it's total McCartney sounding. I mean, it's a totally cool song. But Bonham, it's very. I listened to it a couple times when it first came out, and but his snare sounds killer on that. It's very repetitive. It's not like there's a lot of parts of the song. It's more like a real consistent straight eight type groove, and. It's similar to another song that Zeppelin put out. It's not St. Tristan's Sword, I don't think. I forget the name of the other one. But anyways, that's great. That's totally cool.
Cool. Let's see. We've got... Michael Rafter is referring to your explanation of... Well, here's this, Brian. That was a super helpful explanation of using a flam concept for those triplets. Great way to approach it. So that was cool how you broke that down.
Yeah, you just widen the flam up
space,
and put the bass drum in between, and that's essentially the same pattern. Flam foot, but just make the flam wider and then start making it a triplet circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's why I think if you really think about that, when drummers, when a righty drummer does a flam, it's right left.
Right.
You know what I mean? So right left, and you go plap, 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 get it. There's your triplets right there.
Yeah, and someone's referring to something we didn't talk about, which is amongst dozens and dozens of great topics. The beat goes, and then I'll tell you the question, you'll probably recognize. The middle section of For Your Life.
Middle section's killer, and does anybody? Is it just me? Does it sound like maybe that song, Interstate Highway song, love song from Stone Temple Pilots?
I'm not familiar with that. I'm embarrassed to say.
It goes. Wait. It's where's? Okay. It's the song that goes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a shot.
Right? Isn't that where that came from?
Yeah. And someone's pointing out a song, I guess during this part we were talking about good grooves and stuff. I'm not familiar with this song. It's Kashmir or Kashmir. Oh, Kashmir.
That's the problem with Bonham. There's like great drum sound, great bands, but just not many songs with good grooves, That's a problem,
One of my favorite parts, my favorite part of that song is in the bridge. When he does that flutter.
Yeah. That would stand out. He was like, you know what? I haven't done really much, I've been keeping it really straight.
It's the one thing.
I'm going to give you a little thing here.
Yeah.
Right? Which is killer, but I love the groove. They go, don't, brown, don't, bat. That is just like, you couldn't have put anything better in there,
Yeah.
But I didn't. We jumped off of For Your Life.
Yeah.
That For Your Life thing. If you count through that, it really starts to sound backwards. But he starts playing the bass drum, the snare on the 1 and the 3, but it starts to sound like the 2 and the 4 around the riff.
Right.
And then when it gets out of it, if you would allow that 1 and 3 to become 2 and 4 in your head, then it sounds like he's got a little bit like a bar 7, or he drops an eighth or a quarter. Well, he drops a quarter to get out of that section to the next section. Do it again, do it again. But if you keep it in your head that snare's on 1 and 3, because they go 1, 2, 3, 2, 2. It's 1 and 3. So just count through it. It stays in 4/4. It stays in 4/4 if you just let this thing keep the snares in your head as 1 and 3.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, Joe Saltamonchia. Joe, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Joe Saltamonchia. Saltamonchia. Brian, I remember being a teenager in the 80s and listening to the New York radio station WAAP ? Do the top classic rock songs for Memorial Day weekend, about 15 songs, 15 Zepp songs, and I was blown away that the same drummer sounded bombastic in songs like Dazed and Confused, and then controlled softer touch like Stairway. That was my first recollection of hearing Bonzo. That's a great example of, again, that wide arc of his, playing. In fact, that's a game that we didn't play on the original broadcast. Let's do that now. Let's each take turns calling out a song, and the other one answers with the antithesis of that song, as long as it has drums in it. So, like, if I said Achilles' Last Stand, what would you say?
Down by the Seaside.
Okay. How about Immigrant Song?
Kashmir.
Ooh, you take a couple.
Black Dog.
Oh, I have to go with Bron Yar Stomp.
All right, cool. Song remains the same.
No Quarter. Same album.
All right.
Kind of lumbers along, Oh, and by the way, going back to the topic of live versions versus studio versions, the studio version of that song is just a weird freaking song, but yet on the Song Remains the Same soundtrack, I love it, and I love the center section and his subtleties again in that before when Jimmy starts his thing, that backbeat to that is so freaking funky.
Now that I love the live No Quarter is one of that's in my, I'll say top 10 Zeppelin songs. Just No Quarter, I love it. But I remember the first time I heard it on House of the Holy, when it got to the main riff, the first thing I thought was, wow, he couldn't have played a better beat to that riff.
Yeah.
Deuce, do-ga, and because I thought it was just going to go deuce, do-ga, azoo, do-ga, and
just
gave me that skip on the backside, and I immediately went, that was the best thing he could have played there. That's
a great point, because that's what people are missing when they say he wasn't a great drummer. He had the foresight to do that, to drop a beat or slide on the back part of it, or the weaves that we talked about, all that.
I mean, but he was a great drummer in every single way. So tell me one avenue you could go down where he wasn't a great drummer. Just give me one.
Right.
Give me one. I'm saying, like, anybody. Now, I know we can't because we think he's great.
Right.
But if somebody doesn't think he's great, I really don't care if you think he's great or not. Like, I'm not here to convince anybody.
It's a curious discussion. What's the example of him not being a great drummer?
Yeah. What is it? He couldn't swing? I don't care what Ginger Baker said, because he swung as hard as anybody.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, he swung.
Exactly.
Everything in Zeppelin is funk. Everything's based in funk and swing.
Yeah.
Like everything. There's no. What's the heaviest of Zeppelin? Like the heaviest riffs, the heaviest where you go, that's metal.
Yeah, it's got to
I
be
mean,
Achilles
being
left stem.
the most punk might be like communication breakdown, just the whole, but still,
Yeah.
I mean, you're not, no, the punk, yeah, there's maybe an attitude that, like, in a punkish kind of way, but just to play those breaks like that,
Right. And
there's still groove in there.
a
There's
very
still giving you a
similar,
groove.
yeah, a very similar example. Wow, the song is escaping me.
Oh yeah, is that it's either that's wearing and tearing,
Yes,
right? Wearing
Wearing
and
and
tearing.
Tearing is a punk song.
Yeah, yeah.
Period.
But still, but then the breaks in the middle, da da
Yeah.
da da, like that's the
Yeah.
total Zeppelin. And his drums sound massive on that
Yeah.
stuff.
That bass
And
drum sounds like it was recorded in a hallway.
oh yeah, it's massive. It's awesome. And the other one on that on Walter's Walk, boom,
Oh, love that.
that's
Yeah.
killer.
And
That I love Coda, man.
me
Darlene,
too.
Ozone, baby, come
Yeah,
on, we're in the
someone
groove.
pointed out Darlene. I was just going to read that. What about the groove in Darlene? That is like just slow enough for it to work perfectly. It's like they played it one way and then they said, "Now let's just bring it back a little," and it's just so hip that way.
And a buddy of mine just wrote John Hummel, who's a
I know John.
amazing,
Yeah,
great
hi
friend.
John.
So yeah, so he just texted me. It's not in here. He said, "Hey, that was cool. Celebration Day. Sorry, you guys got cut off." So I don't know if he means we cut ourselves off or something did happen, but do
I'll
we
have to
know?
check. Yeah, I think we got cut off. I know it's not something we did on our end, but I'll check it. But I'm going to download it because I have the video right here. I'm going to download it because I know how to do that, and I'm going to repost it so it'll be there.
All right, so you can look through, since I'm on the new one, look through how are you finding the old stuff if we're on the new one?
I don't know, the way I showed you. I didn't go to the new one. I just pulled up the old one before we went live again.
Okay.
So, folks, I'm going to cruise through and read some more comments or questions to Brian.
Oh, right, you went into your videos. You went to the videos, scroll down, and you're seeing the old one.
Yeah.
Okay, and I can't see that video. It's so annoying. I'm going to go to your videos and see if it's there. I see that we're live on Drum Talk TV.
That's the current
now I'm going to see if I can find us the old stuff where I can find those old comments.
Okay.
And I still don't see it. Oh, there it is. Now it's there. 12 minutes ago, it just popped up.
Because, you know why? Because it was an hour and 48 minutes long, so when we ended, it took all that time to process and archive. That's why.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So Stephen was able to see it, and I was able to see it because we're admins of the page. That makes sense. So Steve Weinberg, here's a guy who I was in a band with years and years and years ago. I went to this audition with my arm in a cast from here to here. And I walked in with my drum tech. I was 20 years old or 9. I was 18. I was 18. Walked in with my drum tech, and they walked up to him and they said, "Hey, Dan, great to meet you." He said, "No, that's Dan." And they look at me with my cast. They're like, "You're here for an audition?" And I got the gig.
Wow.
Yeah. So
right,
Steve,
more power to you. That's great.
Yeah, Steve.
But by the way, I don't see the old one still. It's the new one. It's the new one that we're doing now. And so anyhow, scroll through the comments because I feel bad. People were writing questions and that was one of the things I said to you. It's like, yeah, man, I definitely want to interact with people. Any questions? Let's get into it. I thought that would kind of put it. But Dan, being as thorough as he is, anybody out there that's listening right now, he did come up with so much to fill 5 hours if we wanted to. And I was like, well, I don't know if we'll get all this with his itinerary was pretty massive.
And the way we talked.
Yeah, for what started as an hour-long program, which is now over 2 hours. But I was like, yeah, but questions can take you down other paths, and so let's knock those out.
Here's one. So I was referring to Steve Weinberg. Hello to your wife, Becky Lippo. He says, referring to John when I was playing the 1975, because I remember seeing this come through in my time of dying. Steven says it's like breathing for him. He didn't even break a sweat, and that's true. If you look at John, he's never seems winded. He's very smooth. There's a lot of times where it doesn't look like there's a ton of effort going in. You know, he's not over swinging like you pointed out, Brian. He did in the beginning days where it was very physical and theatrical, and later he just sort of put it out there. You know, like deal with it.
Yeah,
Here's what you got.
I was surprised as a kid when I saw somebody the same. How most of the time he was not swinging for the cheap seats, and then when we saw the 75 stuff in '77, Nebworth, he's chilling. Yeah. He's chilling. But how good do his drums sound? How great is he playing? Yeah. You know what I mean? I think he was just like, man, I'm John Bonham. I'm in Led Zeppelin. I'm just going to make sure that my drums sound killer and my groove's killer, and I play a great show. He wasn't concerned with the visual side anymore, and for the most part, and smashing up drums. I just think he was on a really he was God, for the amount he's talked about as being, it's all about the sound. Everybody just thinks these big, huge drums, and some of the times they weren't that big and huge. Like really, you can't even hear the kick drum on the final version of Heartbreaker. If you listen to the isolated track, there's stuff going on. You're like, oh, yeah, you know what I mean? So the Immigrant Song drums on the Zeppelin 3 don't sound that big, but there are huge songs, like songs where the drums are massive. Yeah. But he had a tone, a sound, and a groove that even when it wasn't like When Luxury Breaks or Jamaica, it was still like this force that was just stood out. It stood out. When he comes in with Heartbreaker, it's undeniable. It's amazing. It sounds killer. You know?
Trampled underfoot, same thing.
Yeah. So I just think he was almost ahead of what everybody was talking about him being. He was already like, yeah, that's what you hear, but you're not really paying attention to where I am. I'm on this whole other thing that makes me sound like that, and I'm not even digging in because I've tuned my drums to sound a certain way. We're in the studio getting these killer sounds.
It comes through
all the way up to Into the Outdoor. I mean, I know Coda was after, but Coda's a culmination of
older
stuff. But man, some of that Coda stuff is from the Into the Outdoor sessions. I think the bigger drum tracks are.
Yeah, it has that sound.
But I don't think it. Wait, did you say there's drums on Coda that were from the present sessions?
I thought that. Let me think the songs through. I thought that. What was it, Darlene or Ozone Baby? I thought was from the present sections.
I think they're all from that. What is it, Polish Studios in Switzerland? They did it after.
Yeah, you're right.
That big sound.
Yeah.
It's very similar, and Presence has its own type of sound.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's out there. I don't know of any other tracks that aren't on Presence that sound like that Presence drum production. That's true.
And
I just don't know.
I think you're right. And Presence is the only Led Zeppelin album with no acoustic instruments. Not even T for One. Yeah, I don't think T for One either. I think there's no acoustic at all.
Yeah. It's really one drum sound.
Yeah.
Almost one guitar sound for the most part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a pretty similar sounding record top to bottom production wise and sonically. You know, like Van Halen 1 or something. It sounds Van Halen 1. That's the drum sound, top to bottom. That's the bass. That's the
bass too, because he used the 8-string alembic not only in Achilles' Last Stand, but in Nobody's Fault But Mine, and I think in possibly not Candy Store Rock, but possibly there's another one where you can totally hear that sound. I can't think of it, but here's another great. Oh well, here's a comment for you. Ken Hawks, does that name ring a bell?
I saw the name earlier. I think we went to school together or something.
He says, I remember Brian from Berkeley. He had a super fast right foot. I was watching me practice double bass once, and I was asking me about how I did certain things. And he says, nice guy, too. And here's another thing I've always wanted to ask you that I see. I think it's Nebworth, where someone shouts out Moby Dick or something, and Robert says, no, Bonzo doesn't do that anymore. And there is no Moby Dick on Nebworth, or the Rotterdam bootleg from the 1980 European tour. Maybe it was one. Do you know why he stopped doing Moby Dick? I mean, it was only 31, 32.
Man, I wish I knew when he stopped doing it. But they called he changed the drum solo name to another.
Over the Top, because it started with the beginning of Out on the
Over
Top.
the Top.
Yeah, but he didn't. But there's no solo on the '80 tour or on Nebworth.
And yeah, I knew this, but there was in '77. That's so.
Yes.
But that's where the gap was. This is what I think. This is just a guess. It might be a little bit of this. That whole punk thing was going on in the late '70s, right? And there was calling Zeppelin was at the top of the list as bands that were called dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And the drum solo was at the top of the list of what makes you a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Hippies, drum solos, long jams, and I think I'd love to know why, but I would think that would be a factor in a discussion of why maybe one person, whether it's John Bonham or somebody else or the whole band, says, do you need to do that this time? And John's either saying we haven't been out in a while, let's play more songs, because but he probably had a healthy enough ego to go, well, that's my solo, that's my spot in the show, where I get to do my thing. But yeah.
You know what, though?
If you wanted to, I would think they would say, sure, of course.
I would think so, too. But I want to bring something up that I hate to bring up, but I think it's important because it's very sad. And I don't know if you've ever heard this, but I'm thinking about what you're saying, and I'm wondering if this has anything to do with it. I heard an interview with Robert Plant about a year or two ago, and he said that on the day that was before the night John passed away, John picked up Robert for rehearsal. They were driving to rehearsal for the tour, and John was upset, and these are Robert's words. He said, he told me, he says, I'm not any good on the drums. Everyone's better than me. And Robert said, right. Yeah, and Robert said, what are you talking about? You're great. He says, no, I'd rather sing. Because he did used to sing, like you pointed out earlier, and Out on the Tiles was written about a ditty he used to sing about going out and partying. And he said, I want to sing. Why don't you play drums and I'll sing? Kind of jokingly, but on this drive to rehearsal, he was really down on himself. And it was that night that he drank all that vodka, ate all the pizzas, and passed away. Maybe he didn't do the solo because people like Neil Peart and all these other drummers were rising to their occasion, and somehow he felt antiquated, mixed in with the things you're saying. I don't know.
Hey, it could have been. And none of us know what it's like. I would think, how could you feel like that when you're in Led Zeppelin and you're John Bonham and you've just done this for 12 years, and you know what I mean? You're still. He's still playing amazingly at Nebworth, but that doesn't mean he can't get down on himself. But yeah, maybe he just went through a little thing, and maybe that was the thing, just the combination of like, oh, there's really problems out there, and peers and blah blah blah, this and that, and who knows? I really don't know. It's all speculation. I was going to ask you a question. Before Nebworth, wasn't there only like a little run of shows prior to that?
No, actually, Nebworth was
after.
Nebworth was the first thing since the '77 tour.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
And then after Nebworth, they started the tour. They were going to come to the U.S., but they did the European leg first, and the only bootleg
But it was short.
Yeah, there's a great
like
bootleg
2 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks, and it was after that tour that scenario happened. They were rehearsing to come out to the U.S., North America.
Right.
And
but still, that was a while after. Like Nebworth was when? What month?
79, August or September, I think, of 79.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Between August and 79, he didn't die for a year.
Right.
It was a full year. So they did Nebworth a little run.
Right.
They made it through the outdoor
before Nebworth.
That summer they made it and then did Nebworth.
Yeah, because Into the Outdoor came out that summer.
And 79.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think, did they play anything from it?
That's what I'm trying. Nebworth, did they play in the evening? What did they open up with?
Yes, they did. They did.
Okay, so they're playing in the evening at Network. That's what they opened up with, right? Right.
Yeah.
I know he's just confirming.
Yeah.
So the album's out. Everybody's digging Zeppelin in summer '79. They do Network. Why was there such a long gap from Network to the next year, where they do the European run and they're about to go to the States in September, October,
Right.
and he dies?
Yeah.
What happened? I haven't thought about this. What happened between Network and the summer of 1980?
The only thing I can think of is they did Networth. It was the fall, maybe late fall, and they didn't want to go out before the holidays, so they stayed home for the holidays. And I don't know. Maybe it's also the way that bookings worked out. I don't know.
But also, why wouldn't they do a U.S. summer tour for 1980 prior to? You know what I mean? Why just do a little? So either there was some personal. I have not thought about this.
Well, you got to remember, Robert's son died before In Through the Outdoor, and that might have shaped some things.
In '79?
Yeah, '77.
What?
That's true.
Right,
2 years earlier. Yeah, it was during the North American tour. It was actually
that was earlier, but then he had a car accident. But that was also
in the President's recordings.
Yeah, that was before that. So,
yeah.
But there was none of that drama that everybody's like started pointing the finger at Page and his, you know,
Black Magic bullshit.
Black Magic, yeah. Like, I mean, that was already years prior. So it's not like in '79, Clint's son died and everything stopped.
Right, in '77, yeah. So I don't know.
It's like there was another question. Oh, Bonzo's Montreux. This is interesting stuff. Brian needs to turn his game down a touch. I'll just talk a little low. Again, I'm getting excited. We're doing a show on Bonham here.
Thank you from your speakers, folks.
BC Richards, I hope you own a BC Rich bitch. I do. They're badass. But Bonzo's Montreux was recorded in Montreux, right? I've talked about this with my buddy Brandon Cagel. He's a hardcore Bonham freak. He's the first one who said, I think Bonham was always using his internal muffler. And I think that's how he got the controlled sound, but still had his tone. And he's also the one who showed me a picture of Bonham's van. So we can go on forever with this stuff, man. Bonham's acrylic kit, which I thought he is using no muffling on that, right? Because there's no felt strip on the front.
Right.
You got to find the picture. I got the picture. It's on my laptop right now. I don't know how to just like. I wish I could send it to you. Probably. I'll send it to you. If I send you an email with this picture.
Yeah.
Could you put it up?
Yeah.
Could you put it on this show?
I could.
Anyways, he put his felt strip on the batter
side
really low.
I think I remember seeing that actually.
Yeah, okay, so I never noticed that. And then Brandon says in his picture, like, whoa. And then, if you look at the front head, the Rizzo head, it looks like about 2 inches around. It looks like he's cut another drum pad out and glued it on, like a ring. But then I watch these Bonzo Freaks, these guys, they're really cool guys. I forget their names right now. George and, I'm just face it right now. They have their own Bonham like worship channels and stuff, and playing drums and hanging out, and it's great stuff. But then they were talking, and they said it's not actually like a 2-inch strip ring. It's actually a head, the entire head of another drum cut out 2 inches less than. So it's 24 inches or whatever, instead of to glue the whole thing on.
Oh,
to
it's
control
the
that whole
opposite of a ring.
Opposite, because of the way the color, when the light shows through it, the way it's, if you compare it to like one of those.
See, there's another layer. Yeah.
But that's like new stuff. So there's always like new stuff going on. Like, you know, who knows? But
how about this crazy question? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. And then
no, just like the whole aluminum foil in the kick drum. Like, I've never done that. You know, to make it have, be louder or more cracky or whatever. I've never done that. I don't know much about that.
Here's something that's always like, and then I got a question for you from somebody. Why, other than the one person saying that they saw Candy Store Rock, why on the Presence Tour 1977 did they only play Achilles and Nobody's Fault But Mine. Why did they not play Royal Orleans or For Your Life or any of those? It's such a great album, and they played 2 songs.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Who knows why? Why wouldn't they play Royal Orleans? Jan's like 3-minute little clip, little jam, and or Hot Song for Nowhere.
Right.
Which used to be, man, that used to be one of my favorite Bonham tracks. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
And it fills at the end. I don't know.
Weird.
But that's what I was going to say. The only recording I know of for in Montreux was Bonzo's Montreux.
Oh.
There's if you look like where they recorded the records, there's
nothing else from that session.
Like what else was going on? Why did Bonham do this there? And there's no other like information on what was going on in the studio like that day or at that time period. It was because my buddy goes, oh, they were making Presents, and I'm like, no, Presents was done. It was like many months later at a different studio. And okay, well, it wasn't for this record. No, that record's already done. So it just stands out there as its own. I have to look. I looked into it, and because it wasn't during the outdoor sessions.
Right. It's not at the same place.
Yeah. Oh, you can hear his pedal squeaking in Bonzo's Montreux.
Yeah, that's another one. That's right.
Yeah, you can hear it squeaking that one.
Here's a question for you. I remember that the very first Bonzo Bash, which was called The Groove Remains the Same, Jason Bonham was there.
Yeah.
Right? And so this person, LM Lunova, is asking Brian how about Jason? Are you friends, and does he have special secret things or recordings not released?
Yeah, I've known Jason a long time. I met him back in 1994, so that was a long time ago. We knew similar people, so ultimately, eventually we met. I forget where, but we met a couple times back then, and then I was in the band Foreigner for a few years, and then when Foreigner got back going, Jason was in the band, and then when Jason went to do the Led Zeppelin reunion show, the Albert Erdogan benefit, that was 2007. He had called me in 2006 because he had broken his arm like motorcycling or something in 2006, and he had Foreigner shows he couldn't do. Brian, are you? And he's like, hey man, I broke my arm motorcycling. Oh man, that sucks. He goes, are you able to fill in like these couple weeks coming up? I was like, yeah, I'm home. He's like, all right, cool. And I'm glad you do that, because when I tell Foreigner, they're going to be pissed off that I was riding a motorcycle and I hurt myself, but when I tell them that you're available, it'll be cool because I have history with them. So I went back in, and Jason was actually on the road, but we didn't know each other, but not that great, and I didn't want to be now that I'm hanging around with Jason, even though I'm sure I could have, it was probably all cool. I was bugging out on remember the Foreigner songs because I had to play a show. My job was to get up there and play, foreign shows. So it's not like I could just sit down and play without thinking. So I had to do that, and then and it wasn't like we were around each other all day. But we were around because Jason still came up and played. He played like one-handed version of "I Want to Love Is" and sing backgrounds or something like that. But or one song where they all got to the front and sang together. He did that. But I was the drummer of the show. So this was 2006, and I just didn't want to bother him. Like, now that almost like I didn't want him to. He probably expected me to, and I didn't want to be like, now I'm just going to hit you all these questions, just hanging around. So I didn't really. And then in 2007, when Jason would go rehearse with Zeppelin, I would fill in for him and Foreigner, which led up to like a month run in Europe, and we actually played that show. We opened up. Foreigner played one song, I think, at the Albert Erdogan benefit, so we were all there. And I watched that show. I was there for that. I saw Jason before the show, but I think I even saw some of the other Zeppelin guys. But it was like backstage, and of course, like people around them, whatever. Just kind of saw.
Yeah.
But no. So and I got the idea from Jason when I filled in for him before to play as far as a click track instead of playing to a click in your headphones or your in-ears or whatever. He was using one of those Tama rhythm watches with the green and red light flashing stuff. So it was a relative click. He wasn't playing spot on to a click track. He would put the show in all the different tempos and use that as a reference.
Wow.
Reference like so just stay in the ballpark, right? You don't have to be perfect. But so Foreigner was cool with that because all the vocals were live. They had nothing. There were no backing tracks or whatever. Yeah, so that's what I started doing with Foreigner, and in certain situations with other gigs, if that was an option, I would do that. You know, it was like I think I did it with Queensryche. We didn't play the clicks, but I wanted to be in the ballpark, and I think so. I can't remember. There were just a couple other bands, but anyhow, that way I got that from him back then when I was filling in for him in Foreigner. And but yeah, does he have stuff? I'm sure he has stuff, but I don't know what he has. I don't. Yeah, I've never gone down that road where I've picked his brain like that, you know. But my buddy who plays bass with him, Dorian Hartsong. Dorian and I went to Berkeley Music College together. Known each other since we were 18. He's the bassist for the past, I don't know, like 8-9 years with Jason, with the Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Jason Bonham. Was it JBLZE? Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin. Evening now. It's evening, right?
Evening now,
yeah, anyways, he's my buddy Dorian. Originally, he's a drummer who played guitar. So we're both drummers at Berkeley who played guitar. And then he switched to bass somewhere at Berkeley, and all of a sudden he got graded on bass. So we talk all things drums, bass, guitar. Point is, somewhere in there, I was talking about a Bonham lick. Like sometimes we do this Bonham talk. What do you think he does here? What do you think he does here? And I said, I don't remember who said it to who, but maybe when he does one of those, that some of that stuff, it might be a double right stroke on the toms, like instead of thinking it's 2 feet.
Oh,
maybe it's a left, like maybe it's and it's 2 rights. So I just recently saw a clip of Bonham, and it was like a loop, one of those loop things, and it was like a 20-second end of rock and roll, and he started doing it, and I was like, kept rewinding it. No, it wasn't looping. I was rewinding it because I was like, what's his hand doing? I swear it looked like he was doing a double there. So I've messed with that, and I could have sworn Dorian said years ago, yeah, I think Jason thinks it's a double too. You know what I mean? So there's like just constant little things to all this talk going around. Yeah. So it wasn't Jason and I speaking directly about it, but it was like same conversation with the same person, just at separate times.
Right.
But actually, I think Dorian brought it up with me. I think he does a double stroke with his right hand when it says like it. So here, I'm check it out. Even though it's distorted, you got the drums sitting back here. I haven't done it yet. So instead of going, it might be all distorted, but let's just see. Instead of going like that's just all. Or you put double on your foot. Take the double off your foot and go.
That's interesting. That never would have occurred to me.
Hold on, I gotta put my headphones on.
Oh yeah,
was that all distorted?
Some of it was clean actually. Had a big room sound, but yeah, that never occurred to me. That's really interesting. I wonder if that's what's going on. I'm gonna find one more comment and then we'll say goodbye to everyone. But we'll check this over the next couple of days too, and I'll send you the link. How about? Oh, here we go. Jim Ninover says, just absolutely blows my mind that a drummer with no formal instructions from getting schooled professionally can do, or I should say did, what he did recording Led Zeppelin music. So God-gifted. Well, that's a great point. I mean, some people just naturally have it, whether it's drums, violin, riding a horse, painting, or learning new languages. For some people, you see these prodigies, these kids these days that are playing Al Di Meola on guitar at 6 years old, or crazy Chopin on piano, and amazing Dave Weckl on drums at 7. There are people here from other planets, and they all brought killer musical skills with them.
Yeah, so somebody. I'm just glad that we're here in this at the same time he was around to be able to experience that and have it affect us like this, because it's still to this day, man. That was a long time ago, and it's still. Where have you heard sounds like that? That organic. I mean, truly organic production. I don't care if they're putting a flanger on the snare drum or a delay on but like, I'm talking. They're capturing tones. There's no samples. There's no gates.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's and
That's
still this
why
day.
that's why I think the squeak was allowed through, because that's how drums fucking sound. It's part of the
Yeah.
mechanism. It's part of the drum set. Sounds like, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. They're it's just still pretty impressive that it got through the mix to be
Yeah.
heard. You know what I mean?
Well, I
Still,
think you're right about there had to be a mic on the batter side. Otherwise, how would that ever get picked up?
because if there wasn't, if where like an overhead is going to pick up a squeak like that,
Under
or a
the
snare drum mic,
snare,
or,
under the snare is still that far away. You know?
you mean leave me like a bottom snare mic?
Yeah. But I don't know if they did that in the
and
studio.
I don't even know how much she was using bottom snare mics.
Right. They did live, but maybe zero in the studio.
Did he for sure not use bottom snare mics at all in the studio, or
that I don't know. I'm just saying that's what we don't know. We know that he did live, but we don't know about the studio. I don't know.
Yeah, I think like sometimes there's just 3 mics. You know, sometimes there's probably, but I think maybe it sounds like maybe there was in Through the Outdoor the bottom snare mic, but yeah, I'm sure that's what I would love to read it. Learn about the history of Through the Engineers. So no, we use these mics. Like this day, we tried this. We never did that before. I just remember reading something a long time ago where John would play, and they'd have mics in the rooms. I'm assuming it's room mics, not the overheads. But then again, sometimes they just use one overhead, one over the floor tom, like the 3 mics, one in front of the kick. But they would move mics around and find the sweet spots of the room, like where the room is capturing his drum tone.
Right.
And sometimes, I just remember reading this quote, they'd say, "Oh, John, drums sound great, just hit the tom lighter." Because like maybe the mic was picking up the tom too loud, but it was getting a killer sound.
Everything else.
So John had to do the track and make sure he didn't hit, so that's how great of a drummer he was, to have that control of, okay, if nobody told me to hit the tom lighter, I would have been playing it how I wanted to play, but now I got to keep that in mind when I'm doing a track.
Right.
Yes, that's really great control. But I'm sure that did happen. They're like, dude, John, we got this sound, man. But your rack tom's jumping out too much. Okay, I'll just hit it a little later.
Yeah, so that everything else is still cool.
Yeah.
Very
I saw there's a question
on the new
somebody
feed.
Asked about, what's that?
On the new feed, on the one we're doing now?
Yeah. In your opinion, is there a drummer today that is as innovative as Bonham was, making unique grooves and songs like he did?
That's a great question.
Man, I'm probably not the best guy to ask for like new drummers. I don't. There's so many amazing drummers out now, but as far as like me paying attention to them, but I can name 2 that it's a different genre, I guess, but I love what they do within the songs. I absolutely love it. It's Thomas Hawk. He's from the band Meshuggah. They're from Sweden, and I absolutely love his style and his approach to drums and what he does around the band. They're very, it's like very syncopated. It's very over the bar. It's really extremely long riffs that stretch over bars, and how he plays. But his groove is killer, and the parts he plays to make it even more exciting are brilliant. So I absolutely love Thomas Hawk, and the drummer from Gojira, which is Mario Duplantier. I think they're a French heavy band, but he's got great parts. Great parts, great groove, powerful, and then killer double bass and all that stuff. But when you watch him live, and it's like, man, he sounds just like the record, and it's tasty. It's tasty stuff, but it's like it's a whole different world of Bonhams. But I don't think that was the question. It was just like more like what drummers are doing cool, innovative stuff. I like what those 2 guys do. I also love what Jojo Meyer does. When he plays, it's just amazing.
I would throw in someone that I discovered a year and a half ago who had been around for 7 years at that time. And I had him on my show, which was great because I really have fallen in love with this band, Haken, with Ray Hearn. The band Haken and their album Vector from October 2018 is just the most musical progressive metal I've ever heard. It's artsy and it's smart. And I thought he was playing a big kit, and then I watched a live performance of them, and he's playing I think a 5 or 6 piece kit with just a few cymbals and gets so much out of it. And
Wow.
I think he's a brilliant player. There's a nice comment here from Tony Ferrari. He says Andy and John Glenn's talk about Mike's on the kit in various recordings on YouTube. So we'll have to look that up. And he says Rick Beto also on YouTube, videos on recordings of John's kit. Cool. We'll have to check that out. Thanks, Tony. That's cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I was going to say something else. Oh man.
Was it that thing about that stuff?
No, you were talking about you said something that just triggered another thing about the. Oh man, you were talking about the band you're all into, that, and I was going to add to that.
Yeah, small kit, but sounded more musical than.
Oh yeah. That was it. It was just another guy, I think, that played great parts for songs, but this is still, it's not a newer guy at all. It was just Matt Cameron with that Soundgarden.
Oh,
I thought he kept your attention.
Yeah.
You know, it was great groove, great time. There's a record, Temple of the Dog. I thought he played amazing on, and I thought he just he was creative. You know, he could have kept it. You know, he probably could have been more of a simple drummer, and but he always kept nice, interesting things happening. You know, and getting some really good tones.
Very cool. Thanks everybody so much. Here's what we're going to do over the next few days. I'm going to send Brian this link, and I'm going to send Brian the link of the archive of the live we did earlier, and we'll both kind of cruise through off and on for the next few days and see if there's any other questions to address. And maybe, Brian, what we'll do is not wait 12 months to do this every time. Maybe we could do this a little more regularly, because there is so much to talk about, and it is always so relevant to today's music, you know.
Yeah, and September 25th is his passing day, you know, so that's not too far away.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know where we'll be as far as live music and live shows, and social distancing and all this stuff. Who knows where everything is? So, but maybe we can do something on the for another John Bonham type occasion. You know,
that would be great. And folks, check out the link that's in the bottom of the post and learn more about and sign up for Brian Tichy's Breaking Down Bonham series. It's lessons, it's a membership, and he's got charted out pieces. Hold up one of your crayon drawings there.
Yeah, right. No, man. I'm not going to sit here and learn how to, do all that typing in the computer of sheet music or whatever, notation and stuff. So, but this is like the world of a drummer, you know. So I charted out. Well, where's the actual chart? The actual, whatever. The chart to rock and roll. It's not. It's just, it gives you all the kick and snare and the hits and the fills, the accents. Obviously we know that it's an open hi-hat through the whole song, so I don't write every hi-hat in there, And then anything, then through the hour-long video lesson, you can also, this is everything broken down of where I do what, okay, at 18 minutes and 58 seconds, do the kick or whatever, I do this and that. It just tells you everything I've explained throughout the whole video, so you don't have to, so you can scroll right to exactly where you want to check out, whatever section you're working on.
That's cool.
There's 2 pages of that, I think, and then there's 1 page of that. But anyways, and then there's just then all my notes when I'm preparing this. I just give you that as well, just anything I was putting together, and then there's 3 or 4 pages of exercises.
Wow.
These are just like it's all handwritten stuff, but it's written, so you can read it and make sense of it and do it. But it's just, these are things that when I was preparing the songs, these are the things that matter. To learn how to sit there and go, the foot independence, making it groove, making it feel comfortable while your 2 hands are doing that, in and out of those awesome accents he does, where he's going, all that stuff. It's all those things you should be practicing to be able to play this comfortably, not just to go, I can count the intro to rock and roll, so therefore I've got rock and roll, or I could play the ending. I go, give it go. Yeah,
it goes back to what we said in the main part of the show, where it's about speaking the language and not just playing the math. And it's also that if you're going to play at a gig, you're do an Aerosmith song, an AC/DC song, a Scorpion song, a Zeppelin song. They don't all sound the same. Speak the language. It's those subtleties that matter the most, not just where you put the note, but how you put it there.
Yeah, and somewhere in there, you know, when you're doing all that stuff, your own style hopefully comes out, you know, and it's okay. I think it's fine if you can hear where things come from, but it's also cool if you don't learn something exact. Which, in the case of of this breaking down Bonham stuff, yeah, I'm trying to show it that way, just because why not? It's John Bonham's iconic, and I think I'm pretty close in the world of as far as you know, being able to explain what he's doing and stuff. But uh, at the same time, when you don't learn something exactly, but you're going for it, you create your own things, and so it's a nice combination of you don't want to just be a complete ripoff, and you also don't want to not acknowledge where things came from, because
Right.
you're just going to learn, and somewhere in between all that is you hopefully create your own sound, and
Yeah.
which is probably one of the hardest things to do. It's when you hear Angus Young, or Eddie Van Halen, or Jimi Hendrix, you just know, or B.B. King. When he
David
hits one note,
Gilmour.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean? John Bonham, Neil Peart, Alex Van Halen, Mitch Mitchell, Steve Gadd. It's just like they have things about them. It's just like, oh, it's it's really hard to do. It's especially drummers, because we sit down in a drum set in a room, but that by no means is gonna be what it sounds like on the final record. You know what I mean? Like, so many things could happen, in the mix and the production. But hopefully you can retain your sound, like Bonham retained his drum sound through all his recordings. Regardless if it was a huge room or a small room.
Yeah.
Still sounds like Bonham.
Absolutely. Great points. Everybody, thank you so much for joining Brian and myself. Thanks for following what we do here on Drum Talk TV. Brian, hang on the line here with me after we wave goodbye to the audience. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.